A warm welcome to all our viewers, today to our series Looking for the Meaning of Life. A topic that is always interesting is our pineal gland. Our expert Elisabeth Westermann is here today, who really focuses on sound codes and frequencies for the pineal gland. Today she will show us the various possibilities that we have for ourselves and what other tools and possibilities are available from outside to support the pineal gland in its ability. I'm very happy that she is here today. Hello, dear Elisabeth. Hello. So I'm getting even more grey hair than I already have, if you call me an expert on the pineal gland. Oh, I wanted to say for the sound codes. Yes, that's not a problem at all. That's no problem at all. I just want to have said that again because I am not a doctor or an alternative practitioner, so of course I have limited knowledge. I've dealt with it, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to receive the sound codes. But there is certainly much, much more to discover about it. Also in the spiritual realm. Both in the physical and in the spiritual realm. I'm also absolutely aware of that. So what can I do for my pineal gland myself? There is a whole range here. There are a whole bunch of approaches and a whole bunch of options. I would just like to briefly touch on a few things that are outside of the sound codes. One thing is, in any case, I've heard over and over again, the fluoride. That you really have to pay attention to. There is now fluorinated drinking water in many areas, so you should buy a good filter. This is also very good for glyphosate and similar things that are also often in the water, which would also disrupt the function of the pineal gland. So good water filters are definitely a good topic, and I think that this TV station has a lot to offer about this subject, so just do some research. The other thing is that you should use a toothpaste that does not contain fluoride. I don't want to advertise any company here, and that's why I won't say anything, but there you can also do a little research, and they are even available in many drugstores. And otherwise you will certainly find natural toothpastes online, or you can make one yourself. That's also possible. And that when you get your teeth cleaned at the dentist, that you should refrain from having a fluoride gel put on your teeth. But that wouldn't even be that much. But the problem is that alternative researchers have found out that the body no longer excretes this fluoride. So if you are over 60, for example, then you have already accumulated a lot in your life, and then it slowly becomes more and more difficult for the pineal gland, and we want to avoid that. Another story that cannot be avoided, but where there may be support, are the high-frequency radiations in the most varied of ways. There are certainly some good approaches here in this TV station too, and there is also a Swiss company that is working very intensively on this. I'm not doing any advertising here either, but you can do some research. There is a Swiss company that also works with at least 3 universities that does a very good job in this direction, so you could do some research and take a look there too. But I also have something on my website for the interfering radiation. I almost forgot about that. I am now advertising on my own behalf. I am allowed to do that. There are sound code packages that can be downloaded for really little money, which you can then put on stones and distribute these stones in your house or wear them around your neck. Or maybe just put them on the cell phone or near the laptop. And that too, I was told by very sensitive people, is absolutely effective. Also, a great idea. I think you get more inventive, and nowadays there are more and more ways and areas to be effective here, right? Exactly. And these stones are living beings. So be careful. Please ask beforehand whether you're allowed to do that. Even a stone has a life. Sounds crazy, but it's true. But most stones like to do that because everything that exists on this earth would like to work for the earth and not against the earth. That's why they agree. Well, there is also something for the water. But it's still good to have a physical filter. And when you have that in addition with the stones in the water, it's fantastic. And these sound code packages, they cost, in any case, well below €100. And you can equip the whole house with them, and a car and whatnot. So you are well taken care of then, and if you can't and don't want to spend that much money, this would really be at least a good measure to do this, so that you are at least well supplied energetically. The pineal gland, what does it have an influence on? Why is it so important? The pineal gland, yes, we are now done with the issues of how can I help from the outside, first of all. The pineal gland is a very interesting organ and is almost as essential to our overall good functioning as the Atlas region, just in a very different way. First of all, it coordinates our ability to think. And that's because it can connect the reasoning with the intelligence of the heart and with the gut feeling. It is able to do this. Because of that, we have extensive possibilities of thinking. That is what I assume was meant when Rudolf Steiner spoke of body-free thinking. He didn't speak of pure intellectual thinking, but there were these elements added. And when they come together, each of them alone is basically helpless. But these three elements are the heart, and not only the intelligence of the heart, also the heartiness. The courage that comes from the heart, that springs from this intelligence. Gut, sensing, feeling. This moon-like energy. And the mind that can linearly pack things one after the other. When the three elements come together, then I have the possibility of independent thinking. And the German-speaking area has really great philosophers who have dealt with it, in particular in earlier centuries. Kant, for example, with the Enlightenment. Enlightenment is the exit of man from his self-inflicted immaturity. And immaturity is the inability to use one's mind without someone else's guidance. He says, it even goes a little further, the whole thing. I'm not quoting the whole thing now, but it's about thinking for yourself again. And we have systematically forgotten that for whatever reason. And in the course of this, and then through the toxins that are around us, and through substances that have been added to the diet, because it was thought that that might be good, or whatever the reason is, it is further weakened. And then what happens is that the pineal gland shrinks, and it gets a kind of lime cloak. I say that now as a layman. Please, all doctors, you're pulling your hair out now. But that's the only way I can imagine, is in a kind of lime cloak. And the point is that, like a beautiful diamond, that what's around it can dissolve. The key word is it can. In all of the interviews I did, the title was Treating the Pineal Gland, or somehow not just treating it, it was about freeing it, or something like that. Nobody can and should do that. It's about making an offer so that the pineal gland can detach itself from this cloak, so that it can slowly grow again. It's a bit like a rosebud that's in the green leaves and then slowly wakes up. And if you were to tear this apart now, that's even a good example. Then you could throw the flower away. You have to wait for it to unfold. It's a process. And it comes from within. And it comes from within when the blossom, if we stick with the picture, is ready to bloom. Before that, it doesn't make any sense. And that's why all these sound codes are always an offer, so that the pineal gland gets support when it is in the process anyway. And the secret is, with most of us, it is in the process because it is also responsible for us that we perceive differently again. Not only think differently, but also be able to perceive differently. And it's true that more and more people perceive more and more when they open up to it. You have to open up to it, otherwise it won't work. When they open up to what's behind things, they can perceive more and more in the sense of a clairvoyance, in the sense of a clairsentient. We all have the rudiment, and time works for us and ensures that more and more possibilities of this kind arise. And in the process, the pineal gland wants to become more active. And then it receives the support to free itself more and more from what is restricting it, and at the same time to establish the connection, because without that, it won't work. We have had some experience in this field, and I brought testimonials from 2 of the people that I have trained, and I would like you to be able to hear and to see them, so that you can see that I'm not here only talking about fairy tales, about the pineal gland, but that something really is set in motion. Then I'll tell you about another experience I made myself. Hello, I'm Karen Angelica. I have had the privilege as a sound code therapist for the past few years of often experiencing this wonderful healing effect of the sound codes with myself and with my clients. I especially appreciate the sound codes for the pineal gland because it supports the intuitive perception of what is inherent in each of us. And that is what is very much needed in this day and age. In myself, I have experienced that through the activation of the pineal gland, the intuition that I already had before became even clearer, that I'm more centered, and that the confidence in what I perceive intuitively is strengthened. I find it much easier to defend what I have recognized to be true, even if other opinions prevail around me. And it is also much easier for me to put into practice the things that I have recognized. I was able to see with my clients that immediately after the treatment, they felt much clearer and centered, and that they also perceived the treatment as a cleansing, as a gentle cleansing waterfall, which is because while the codes are being chanted, energy centers are actually being cleaned. I wish that the sound codes for the pineal gland will still be available to work for many people, and that many can experience it. I found and experienced the pineal gland treatments to be particularly intense and deep. For years I couldn't dream at all. Now I can do it again. And besides, I have found my way back to my intuition, and of course I am very happy about that. And I can even report that it deepens with each repeated treatment. I'm curious to see where this will lead. Yes, and now my experience. A good friend of mine who was a volunteer at one of my sessions in training to work with the pineal gland, that I would like to say a little bit about it in a second. And he got this treatment, and well, we know what men are like that. They come and do it and see what happens. And then he was treated there, and he already noticed during the treatment that something changes within him. He is a very sensitive man. And then he got up and said, wow, somehow something changed in my perception. And I know him a little. We also have been in touch quite a lot for a while and talked on the phone more often. And he said, this is still going on, this process. And he really only had gotten the treatment and a stimulus for his pineal gland once by then. And his system was just ready for that opening. And then it goes on and on. Yes, I can only confirm that. I've already had a session with you for the pineal gland, and it really was impressive how I could see more, so it was really cool. And most of all, I really believe this is the subject in such treatments, is always that man forgets what he was able to do before. So it becomes a matter of course, where you should always ask, well, has something changed with this topic in particular? Then there is the rational type who says no. But if you then ask more precisely, then a few things come out where you think, well, that wasn't the case before. What is your experience? Yes, but with the pineal gland it is often so clear, because you didn't have it for a long time before. Except in childhood, maybe. It's because of that that people usually notice it. So now there are two options. The topic was, how can I help myself, also with the sound codes? And how can I be helped? Both is possible specifically through the sound codes. On the one hand, we now had packages as a supporting measure. Now there is a package for self-healing, for self-support, where you have videos of me, where you can get sound codes and instructions on how to work with these sound codes for yourself. This is a package with which you can achieve a lot on your own, if you want to. But of course, it's always nice if you have the opportunity to get a treatment directly. Now, the direct treatment in the sense of you are sitting across from me is a bit difficult at the moment, but like the Atlas correction, this is also very easy to do online. And almost all of the people I've trained now also work online. That means you can simply choose someone whose face you like and can then simply be treated. In a pinch, you can also call me, but please, not too many people, otherwise I can't handle it. Then I can recommend someone for certain situations. And this training to work with the pineal gland yourself is the highlight after the basic training as a sound code therapist. Why? Because first of all, it is helpful also to have gone through the Atlas correction before working with the pineal gland. And so it is good if the sound code therapist can do that too, and then works with the pineal gland. And that is also an indication of what you can do for yourself. Let the Atlas be sung to so that it can find itself anew. Then maybe buy your own package, or let someone sing to the pineal gland first, and then buy the package. These are all the things you can do. Now, of course, I'm curious. Can you give us a taste of the codes? Yes, I can sing you 2 of the most important sound codes. It's a whole package because the pineal gland is also related to all systems. But I can sing a sound code for this stimulation of the pineal gland to bloom. I will sing this for you now, and for the heart to blossom. I'll sing these 2 to you now. And it is always so sweet that Corina also always really enjoys it. So beautiful. I always enjoy this. Good. Then the first comes now. Yes, above all, you really feel something when sitting across from you. It's so real. Yes, she has the privilege of sitting across from me. Yes, exactly. But I was also told that you can really feel it through the ether. So you can close your eyes, there's nothing to see now anyway, and then you can let it work on you.
Via dukkha, 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 via dukkha. Ayaya, 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 ayaya. Und zur Abrundung singe ich jetzt noch den Abschlusscode. Aium, 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 aium. Awen, 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 awen.
Beautiful. It was a great finish, dear Elisabeth. If people want to know a little more about it, where are the opportunities to find out more? First of all, there is the website, daotha.com, also DAO-THA.com. Then there are 2 Telegram channels. You can also find them on the website, where you can then click directly. One is Codes of Joy, which is bilingual German-English, where you just get to know sound codes and little sayings and such, and music. And there is also another channel from the Sound Code Academy, where you find the latest videos about experiences. And then, above all, the events and the interviews. I always put them on there. Very nice. Thank you, dear Elisabeth, for being here today. I am still completely enraptured by your sounds. And see you again soon, hopefully. Sure. Dear viewers, I hope it inspired you at home too, to deal more carefully with these sounds, or perhaps to research further. We have more interviews with Elisabeth Westermann, where some sound codes have also been sung, also for animals. You can find them all on our website, QS24.tv. And I wish you a wonderful time. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Bye.